everyone. How are you all doing? I hope this finds you well. I am doing great. So I have had my grandkids visiting for the past couple of days, and oh my gosh, y'all, it has been so sweet. I have loved every single moment of spending time with those precious little kids. They are just so sweet and adorable, and I just love them. Can you tell? I might be just a little bit grandma-y right now. But anyway, they've been visiting and it's been fun. We've been keeping busy, and my granddaughter, she just loves to spend time crafting with me. She's kind of my soulmate that way, I guess you can say. She loves to craft, and so she's had a lot of fun hanging out with me, working on some of our projects that we are going to work on for today. We are going to do some fun patriotic Americana themed DIYs for our 4th of July or patriotic month of July decor. However, I don't typically go crazy on my decor for the 4th of July, but I do like to set some things out just for, you know, that the week of or whatnot. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go hang out in the studio. Well, we're in the studio. Gosh, I am always all over the place. Have you ever noticed that? You don't have to comment on that one. Anyway, so we're just gonna hang out here in the studio, work on some fun DIY projects. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, y'all, so for our very first project today, we are going to work on some cute little firecrackers that I'm going to be making out of dowels, as you can see here. And I've just taken a whole bunch of dowels and cut them at various lengths, and then I'm going to just paint them all in, like I'm going to do one set in some reds, and right here I'm doing some tape on this dowel so that I can make some stripes. And then I'm going to do another set in blues, and I'm just kind of using various patterns on these. Not really, I really just was kind of winging it here. I didn't really have a specific plan, and I did cut some stars out with my cutter so that I can make some star stencils to put on a couple of these. And now I'm just removing some of the tape to reveal our stripes. And I did get a little bit of bleed through on here, and it's probably because I didn't use the stippling pounce motion. I just used a brush and brushed it on. So that's probably why I got a little bit of bleeds. But yep, we're just gonna work on these, and I'll just let you guys sit back and enjoy. Okay, so now that I've got them all painted and ready to assemble, well, actually, before we assemble them, I did take them out into the shop and give them all a little bit of a sanding, just to kind of give them a little bit of that antique, just worn look. But anyway, I'm going to assemble them now just by using hot glue. I'm just going to hot glue each of these together, and then we will wrap some cute little jute ribbon around them, just to give it that extra little cutesy farmhouse look. Oh right, before we put the jute ribbon on, I forgot that we need to add the little fuses. And so I'm just going to hot glue these in, and I'm just using little tiny jute strings to create the cute little fuses on these. Now we can add some cute little bows. And I'm just kind of wrapping this jute around multiple times, and then I'm going to tie it in a knot to kind of secure that little wrap around, and then I'll tie what's left into a cute little bow. And just kind of fiddle with it until I get it just so. And then I'll probably snip off the ends a little bit to just, you know, shorten them because we don't really want them that long. For our second project, we're just going to make some fun little stars, and these could be just used as little accent pieces. You could add them to a tiered tray, or you could hang them from a pegboard, or you could even just display them on a shelf as a fun accent piece. So anyway, I'm just going to paint one of them in an antique red, one of them we'll paint in an antique blue, and then the larger of the three, we're going to do some decoupage on them, and I'm going to try a technique with this that I've never done before, so you'll see what we're going to do with that one in just a bit. Okay, so for this star, which is the larger of our three, I am going to paint it white, even though we'll be decoupaging the top of this. I wanted to have some white paint just in case any of the decoupage, you know, didn't cover fully. And then of course I also, you know, wanted all of the edges to be painted white. So I am going to just take some sheet music that's from the Star Spangled Banner that I cut out on my printer. I just got the image from Google search, and I'm going to decoupage that on, and then we are going to try this fun technique to shrink the decoupage to our star in just a bit, actually just right now. So this method is supposed to be tried and true. I've never used it before, so we're going to see how this turns out. But you just take a lighter and you burn all the edges of your paper, and it should shrink the paper right up to the edge of our wooden star. So we'll see how this works. And I did start doing this indoors, and then at the last minute thought, oh, I should probably take this outside to do it. But y'all, look how it turned out. I'm actually super impressed because I wasn't super hopeful that this was gonna work. But look at that, it really did work. There was just a couple of places that had some edges that didn't, you know, shrink up to the wood quite as well as I had hoped, but I just took my sanding board here and just sanded it down, and voila, there we have it. They turned out pretty darn cute. And for this project, it is super, super, super simple. I think I made this whole project in less than 15 minutes. So I just went out to the shop and grabbed a scrap piece of wood, and it is a really true scrap piece of wood. It's even broken on the bottom, but I really kind of liked the way it looked. And I'm just going to decoupage the Pledge of Allegiance to this. I also cut that out, or not cut it out, I printed it on my printer, and I got this also just off of Google search, but I can link it down below for you if you would like this image. So I'm just going to decoupage it onto this and then do a little bit of antiquing around the edges, and voila, we have a cute little Pledge of Allegiance sign. Alrighty, now we are going to move on to our fourth project, and this one was probably the most time-consuming of the 5. Took me a few hours actually, probably 3 to 3.5 hours to make this one. But we are going to make some jumbo tags, and I don't remember the exact dimensions of these tags, but they are really large, and I will measure them after I finish with this and put the measurements down in the description box for y'all. But anyway, so this first tag is going to be, you guessed it, a flag, and I just taped off all the areas for my stripes, and my first stripes I'm painting white, and then I'm going to let this white dry 100%. Make sure it is fully dry before you tear back your tape, and then once this is dry, we'll tear back the tape and then tape over the white part so that we can tape on our red stripes. Alright, so now that our white paint is fully dry, I'm going to go ahead and cover up our white with some tape, and you can see that my stripes somehow ended up whiter than my tape, so I'm having to do like a double row of tape here to cover up all of the white. And you will notice that I also painted the area where the stars are going to be in white because I want our stars to come through as white. I'm just going to use these little star stencils that I cut out on my cutter. I'm going to lay them all down, and then we will paint over them with another coat of white so that we don't get any bleeding when we paint our blue on. I hope all that made sense. And here I finally got smart and decided to peel all the vinyl off to reveal my stickers so that I could actually see the stickers better. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. Just watch, and then if you have any questions, be sure and ask, because I love to answer your questions. And for the red paint on this flag, I didn't have an antique type red, so all I had was that bright engine red that you see there. And so all I did was take this red paint and add in a little bit of burnt umber to my red to kind of give it that earthy, antique-y look. It just kind of really deepens the red a little bit so it's not so bright. And you can see here that I am just going over that white section where our stars are going to be with another layer of white paint so that when we go over with the blue, we don't get any bleeding. And I have no idea what happened to my coverage of me putting the blue paint on here, but with the grandkids, I might have a few distractions going on. But anyway, after that white was completely dry, I added the blue, let it completely dry, and now we can lift up our star stencils to reveal our pretty little white stars. For our second tag, I am going to put a layer of black paint on this, and I'm not covering the whole entire thing because I am only putting a little bit of black down because we're gonna put some numbers on this that say 1776, and I just want the numbers to be black underneath the white. So after the black is dry, I laid down our stencils, and I'm gonna go over those with a coat of white. Let that dry completely, and I did do 2 coats on here. So, but once it's completely dried, we can peel up our stickers. Oh, whoops, nope, never mind, sorry. I decided that I didn't like that stark white. So here I'm just going over it with a little bit of some, I think this is called the color Fawn in the Home Decor chalk paint. And then I added some antiquing glaze around all of the edges. Then we'll peel up our stickers to reveal our black 1776 numbers. Goodness. So when I peeled up these numbers, there was some white bleed through, and I'm not exactly sure where that white came from. But anyway, I just sanded it off on the number 1 and the number 6, and here we have our final reveal. For our final project, I'm sure you can probably guess what we're going to be making, an American flag out of just some fun wood slats. And I have a very special guest working with us in the shop today. This is my sweet little granddaughter. She just loves to do anything crafty, so she's hanging out in the shop with us. And she, of course, had to create some of her own favorite little projects. So now that all of our parts are cut out, I am going to paint each of them individually before I assemble this flag. And this is the part where our stars are going to be. So I'm going to first lay down a layer of white, and this is, I believe it's either Home Decor or white or Waverly in white. And I'm going to first do the white, then we will lay down our star stencils, and I will do another coat of white over these star stencils to prevent bleeding, and then we will go over it with our blue. And while the white is drying on our stars, over the top of our stars, I'm going to go ahead and start painting all of our slats. And of course, I'm just gonna go red, white, red, white, red, white. And I'll paint all of the red ones first, and then we will paint all of the white ones. And I only had to cover just the fronts on these, and then the very ends, except for the top and the very bottom. They had to have 3 of their sides painted. So that was my process for doing this, and we'll just carry on. Alright, so now that our blue paint is fully dry on this part of our flag, I'm going to go ahead and lift up our stencils to reveal our white stars underneath. And before lifting up your stencils, you do want to make sure that your paint is fully dry, or you might get some peeling. The paint might peel up a little bit with your stencil. Now we can move on to assembling our flag, and I'm just going to use some hot glue here to adhere all of our pieces to one another. And I'm using some very strong Gorilla hot glue that it's a high melting point, and it is made for indoor, outdoor. It's also weather and waterproof. So I really like this glue. It's got a super strong hold. And now that we have our flag completely assembled, I am going to just give it a quick sanding so that we can just kind of give it a little bit of that rustic, worn look. And I just sanded it all over the entire surface.
Today
was so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I loved the projects that we worked on. I think they all came out so good. They're all my favorite this time. I really don't have one specific that I liked better than the other. This time they were all my favorite. Please let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite, because I do love to hear from you guys. Your comments mean so much to me and I always enjoy reading them. So please leave me a comment and let me know what project was your favorite. Or if you have any questions even, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. So anyway, today was fun. And so I am going to go spend the rest of my afternoon hanging out with my sweet, precious grandbabies. I promised them that we would have a fire in the backyard because we don't actually get to spend 4th of July with them. So I told them that we could go have a little bonfire in the backyard and roast some marshmallows. So that should be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Y'all, again, I'm gonna say it's just been so sweet and so special and precious having them here. I have enjoyed hanging out with them so much. So to my sweet daughter who is currently in Ireland, which is why the grandkids are hanging out with me, if you're watching this, thank you so much for letting the grandkids come and spend this time with me, because it's been so precious. So, and I hope you're having a great time in Ireland, because I might be just a little smidge envious that you're in Ireland, but I'm super excited for you and happy for you as well. So anyway, man, there I go. I digress again, you guys. I probably could just ramble on forever about just things that are happening. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye. You kind of charge yours there, Brantley Boyd. You just a little bit. Just a little bit. You might want to make a new one.